All right, guys, I am still buzzing after UFC 315. I have a very special guest here in the house to talk about the massive win. What's next? One of the coaches down here making it happen in Australia, scrappy MMA. Ben Vickers just got back to Perth, and he's kind enough to join.
Yeah, mate, I've been home about an hour. So we had a few dramas on the way home with bloody Virgin Airlines, worst airline I've ever travelled on, by the way. But
what happened?
Here we are.
What happened?
We sat in our seats on the tarmac for a couple of hours. And then they charge you for a can of Coke. It's insane. But anyway, here we are. We're back and we're on top of the world, literally.
As you land, some breaking news in the UFC. Islam Makhachev vacates the lightweight belt. It's now Ilya and Charles, as you know, people thought would happen. What's your reaction, man? Looks like things are in motion, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Jack's about to be pound for pound #1.
I mean, listen, first of all, I just got to ask you, do you think that Islam needed to vacate his belt?
I don't really think it's got anything to do with me. I've always been a guy that will take the next fight. And with Jack, I don't care who that person is because I know he'll beat him. So I think it's cool. It gives us the opportunity to have that scrap. And he's pound for pound #1. So if I think Jack's the best in the world, then he should be able to beat that guy.
I know you guys are angling for this fight to happen in Perth. Realistically, what do you think of the chances Islam comes back to Australia?
I guess it's going to be down to the UFC. I mean, they have a schedule of pay-per-views for the year, so it's kind of hard to slide one in or knock one off if it was planned for somewhere else. So I don't think it's necessarily down to whether Islam will come. He'll do as he's told because he wants Jack's belt. But it's more about whether the UFC can facilitate the Perth fight, which I really hope they can.
What are you thinking time-wise? Because obviously Jack beat Bilal, but, you know, he still took some damage. When do you think would be a good time for you guys to be back in there?
Jack's keen to get back in there ASAP. He's having a little holiday now, and then we're all off to... He's going to come to China. We're going to corner Becca, and then we'll get back in the gym, start working. So Jack's keen to go. Jack likes to fight, and he's just had a year off. So I reckon... anytime. And you say he took a lot of damage. He actually didn't. He got one elbow underneath the eye, which blew his eye up. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what the statisticians were watching or smoking that day, but the punch stats were either they can't see Jack blocking punches, but if it wasn't for that elbow, he wouldn't have a mark on his face. So he's not that banged up.
Yeah, that's great to hear, man. Obviously, look, the fight was great. Everybody loved the fight. Jack was really able to show off all his striking skills, his wrestling defense. But one of the things that stands out here, and I want to show this to you, Ben, and we can watch this together very, very quickly, is you cornering Jack kind of went viral. What was your reaction when you saw this circling the internet?
Tired, right? 5 minutes to realize all your fucking dreams. Let's go. Safety first. Stay focused. Keep pinging the covers.
What was your reaction? Well, first of all, what was your reaction when that went viral? Did you have any thought that, all right, this is gonna basically rule the internet after you said that?
I don't have social media, so but I did get sent. I didn't know I'd said that until I got back to the locker room, and one of the messages I received was a little screen grab of me saying that. Yeah, I mean, I just corner it when I'm doing that. You don't remember that you've got a mic on you or a camera or anything like that. I'm just in the moment giving Jack the information I think he needs. So, and yeah, and my language is terrible. So I'm not surprised by it. There's been a few boys at the gym that would say they've had something similar or worse. But yeah, when I want the boys to put a hammer down, I let it be known. So yeah, it's kind of strange. I'm glad I'm not on social media. I hate the sound of my own voice. So listening to it time and time again. would probably get tiresome. But yeah, it's funny. It's definitely funny.
I just want to also bring this up. Our friends over there at Street X actually turned it into a t-shirt. Look at this. Right on the back here. Street X. Check that out. I think it's only available for 72 hours. Are you going to be wearing that around? What do you think?
I'm 45 years old with children, so I can guarantee I won't be wearing that shirt. But I might buy one for my mum.
Can you imagine? I love that. Hey, by the way, what was going on in your mind as you're talking to Jack in that moment? Obviously, you're giving him some really good direction there. You know how to fire him up. But what was happening in your brain as as you were telling him that?
Well, I was actually convinced Jack was 4-0 up, honestly. So it could have gone horribly wrong, you know. I really, having watched the fight back on a few occasions, I'm really baffled by the scoring. But so I would thought we were cruising. I mean, I thought he may have lost the fourth. It was a close round. They were all like, damage is the #1 criteria, and just look at Bilal's face. Like, that tells me who's winning the fight. So, and I just thought Jack controlled everything with his feet. He couldn't get near him on the takedowns. So I'm normally a pessimistic corner man, but I was convinced he was cruising, and all he had to do was not get stopped. And we know Bilal couldn't stop a bus at a bus stop. So I just didn't want him to do anything stupid, you know, because I know he loves a finish. But I also didn't want him to let Bilal have his. And as it turns out, it was 2-2 going into the last. So I don't think Jack would have needed any encouragement, but the fact that he got it was probably a good thing.
I mean, listen, some of the narrative for this fight was, you know, some people are saying what Bilal did wrong. Like, some people are saying, well, you know, he should have tried to wrestle earlier. But I think it's really about what you guys did right. You know, Bilal's not really known as a guy that really shoots in much. And he did try to take Jack down a number of times. Are you surprised sometimes with this fight, the narrative for some people, and I know you're not on social media, but the narrative for some of the people was like, you know, Bilal kind of approached this fight a little bit wrong. Maybe they're not really focusing on all the stuff that you guys did right.
Yeah, it's all down to the scrappy wrestling, baby.
Yeah.
No, seriously though, Jack didn't allow him to shoot takedowns. He was never still. He was never in front of him. If he was in front of him, he was throwing weapons up the middle. You know, he executed a game plan that we worked on for weeks. And I think, yeah, I think it's crazy to think. I mean, and I think I listened to Ariel while I was on the plane, and he was recounting some of Bilal's stats, and he's about average on the takedowns he shoots per fight in the fight with Jack. So yeah, look, I don't care what people say, man, and whatever. Like, I know this sport better than some idiot on the internet, and I know that was a masterclass. And I know Jack didn't allow Bilal to shoot those takedowns, and when he did shoot them, Jack stuffed them. So he could have shot as many as he wanted. You know, we were ready for it.
By the way, I remember I was in the media room. You wouldn't have seen me, but I think it was one of your earlier wins in the UFC. And I remember you guys were already talking about wanting to fight Bilal a while back. Do you remember that? I think it was like maybe at Randy Brown or something, and someone was asking you who you guys wanted next. You were saying Bilal. Do you remember that?
I don't ever remember calling for Bilal. Shavkat was the one that we've always wanted. I don't, but you know, I don't. Jack wants to fight them all, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was calling for Bilal. But yeah, I don't remember that. But look,
I remember one of you guys whispered it. I remember it, but you know, it was probably because it was strategically a good move at the time. And right now, you know, 170 is a beautiful place to be. So many contenders, but first you got Islam Makhachev. I got to ask you, man, how do you see Islam as a challenge for you guys? Obviously, he's one of the best lightweights to do it. How do you think that translates over into welterweight?
Yeah, I think obviously he's brilliant. I don't know that fight is definitely not signed, and I haven't heard from our team that it's happening. I've only seen what's been said in the media, so I just want to put that out there. I'm talking about it because it seems to be what's happening, but there's been no indication at my end as to whether it is or it isn't. But I watched them. I had a lot of time on my hands in the last X amount of hours coming back from Canada, and I watched a bit of footage on Makhachev in particular the Poirier fight. And you know, I've never watched Makhachev before as a potential opponent. I've always just enjoyed him fighting because he's brilliant to watch. But I think Jack will knock him out.
All right, guys, before I get back to the interview, I just want to thank my sponsor, MANSCAPED, for making this program possible. Did you guys know with the code word submission, you guys could save 15% off? That's 15% off plus free shipping from all of the great products on the Manscaped website. But I want to talk to you guys about the Chairman Pro. The Chairman Pro is a high-tech, data-approved grooming upgrade, which is perfect for the Father's Day over there in America. But if it's not Father's Day, it is an electric face shaver that can tackle up to 5 days of growth and features 2 interchangeable blade heads. It's waterproof. The battery life is awesome, up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, but it also showcases the battery level so you know when it's time to recharge with a display. Of course, it's got the travel lock, the LED spotlight, and most importantly, the 2-year warranty the Manscaped comes with. Manscaped, of course, has the Lawnmower 5.0, the Beard Hedger, and all sorts of other products. Some of the most comfortable underwear out there as well. So go to manscaped.com, use the code word submission, get 15% off and free shipping today. And guys, I also want to talk to you about our friends at SAILY. That's right, SAILY, the best eSIM on the market today. What is an eSIM? Let's say you're traveling, you need to make phone calls, you need to download data, you need to be able to use your phone. Don't line up in a stupid queue and replace your SIM card, lose your current SIM card, and sign up to some plan that lasts for months. Use SAILY today. You just have to download the app. You just choose the location where you're at. You choose the amount of data that you want, and you are sorted, my friend, to use your phone wherever you go, whatever country you go to. It's easy to use. Like I said, all you need to do is just download the app. You avoid roaming costs, never ran out of data because you're able to update it and increase it wherever you go. It's one eSIM for all of your trips, so you don't have to change SIMs everywhere you go. And it's got global and regional plans as well. Get up to 100 gigabytes of data or as little as 1 gigabyte of data for a week or half a year. SAILY is your place to go for everybody out there who's looking for an eSIM. So download the SAILY app now and use the code submission or go to saily.com/submission. The link is in the description below and you guys get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase. That's 15% off your first purchase. Try SAILY today. And now back to the program. What was it in the Dustin Poirier fight that led you to that conclusion as you were flying back on a shitty Virgin flight in Canada?
Well, the first jab he took, Poirier only hit him once in the first round, and the first jab he took, when he got the takedown afterwards, he was like wincing and like rubbing his eye. And I just feel like he's not used to taking damage. He's not used to being in tough fights with someone pushing the pace. And he's been knocked out before. So listen, Jack's got size on him. But Bilal's the perfect like warm-up fight if you're gonna fight Makhachev. So but anyone, like I see holes in them all. And I think Jack's the complete package. Add to all of his skills, the chin, and then just the pure will and grit to get the job done. Yeah, I feel very confident going into that fight.
People are starting to break down that fight. Obviously, Islam, he's been working on his striking, but what do you think the game plan for him is going to be against you guys? Do you think it's going to be trying to get Jack down to the ground as soon as possible?
1000%. You can't learn to strike. Say he's been working on his striking for the last 5 years, and Jack's a thoroughbred striker. Whether you've been working on it for 5 years or not, you're not going to catch up with Jack. He'll piece you up on the feet, especially if he's bigger than you. And Makhachev's a lot more of a traditional striker than Belal is. Belal's quite a hard puzzle to figure out because he doesn't move in the same way as a boxer would or a kickboxer would necessarily. So good luck. Work more on your striking.
How do you anticipate his wrestling translating over to welterweight from lightweight?
I think it's going to be really good. You know, everyone at this level is amazing, right? So no matter what I say, they're still like amazing, skillful people. His wrestling is his bread and butter. But Craig Jones has game planned for him twice. And Volk very nearly pulled it off, and he's the smaller man. So yeah, I really like the fight. In any aspect, you could ask me about anything to do with that fight, and I just like it.
Mm. Hey, that got me thinking. Who do you think is the biggest challenge for you guys at welterweight, Islam aside?
It's a good division right now, welterweight. Biggest challenge. I think Jack smokes them all.
Yeah, because we've yeah.
I like the Shavkat fight. You know, he's undefeated. He's never been beaten, so he's got to be the biggest challenge. And I know it's a fight Jack really, really wants. He's been calling for it since pre-UFC, even before he got into the UFC. We'd talk and he'd say, "Yeah, I'd really like to fight Shavkat. He's good," you know. So Jack wants to fight the best guys. So I reckon Shavkat.
Mm. I know you're exhausted, so I'll let you go in just a second, but I got to ask you, what was your reaction, Ian Garry? Obviously, he was the backup. He was trying to leave M&ms all over the place for you guys. He's trying to angle to be the backup for this Islam fight as well. What was your reaction to Ian?
There's a funny story. When we got to Perth Airport, I was waiting for the lads and I went to the vending machine to buy a Snickers. Mm-hmm. And I bought the Snickers and I put my hand in the slot and I pulled out a packet of peanut M&ms. No word of a lie. Like the wrong thing came out and it was peanut M&ms. And that is God's honest truth. And then this whole week turned into M&M week, which is, I ate a lot of M&ms this week. I really like peanut M&ms as well. So, yeah, we're not in this business to be celebrities. And Jack said it in his post-fight speech. We just want to win fights and be the best. Jack loves scrapping. Jack loves training. We all love the sport and the process. So he can carry on doing this. He should concentrate more on finishing fights, especially fights that he's dominating. You know, he needs to stop flying around the world trying to be a celebrity and get in the gym and get some power and figure out how to finish fights. His time would be better spent doing that than trying to wind Jack up. You think Jack's gonna bite on any of that stuff? He doesn't care, man. He's the most chilled out dude in the world. So yeah, it's all just a bit silly, really.
Yeah, Jack kind of burned him at one of the press conferences on that anyway. So
he hasn't got one of these.
Oh wow, look at that. That's going up in the gym. Scrappy MMA.
Yeah, this is the replica belt, so or the event belt. Jack's got the proper one, but he couldn't fit this in his luggage as well, so I got the privilege of bringing it home, and yeah, we'll get it up in the gym. But yeah, I don't think Ian Garry will ever own one of these. In answer to your question,
what do you I know a lot of people always think about what a fight between Ian and JDM looks like because these are both young guys coming up in the division. Realistically, if they were to fight today, what do you think that fight looks like?
I think Carlos Pratis showed that as soon as you put the pressure on Ian, he doesn't like it. So it looks like Jack getting in his face and throwing bombs. And I think he'll be running around the cage trying to throw push kicks. That's how I see that fight going down.
Hey, Ben, before we wrap as well, man, I just want to say, I heard Ariel interviewing JDM. He spoke about how you first started training him when he was 15 and you saw a potential in him to be a champion. And, you know, we know his first couple of fights didn't go the way that you guys would have liked, but you guys used that as reps and you built him into this machine who won the belt. You just had that replica belt on your shoulder. And I know you're exhausted after a terrible flight from Canada. But what does personally this whole journey and this moment in the journey mean to you, man? I mean, this is pretty incredible, right? Like a couple of guys from Perth taking over the world.
Yeah, and for me, this journey started way before it did for Jack. You know, I've been in this sport for a long time, and you know, had my ups and downs in it. But back in 2008, I decided that I was never going to win a world title as a fighter. I just wasn't good enough. But I really felt that I could coach one. So at 28, at Jack's age now, I decided to be a full-time coach, and I absolutely love it. I'm really glad I made that decision, and it means the world to me, man. Just to have done something like that with my friends, my brothers. You know, this sport to me is about brotherhood. You know, my gym is a community. The fact that I get to do this with good people, nice people, down to earth people, you know, and we really enjoy the process, and I get to hang out with my mates every day, and we get to do the thing we love every day. This is really is the icing on the cake. You know, we're the best in the world, and not many people ever get to say that. So yeah, it means everything to me. It literally means everything to me, and I'm getting emotional talking about it now, but it's a lifetime of work, and anyone that's been in this sport for a long time knows there's not a great deal of money in it. You know, you have to persevere through the hard times, and you only get this far because of your passion, because you don't do it for money. Jack never asked me what he was getting paid on the regional scene. Never once, never even asked for his purse. He wasn't doing it for money. You know, he wasn't a guy that went, oh, I want this much money. And he could have asked for it. He was knocking people out. You know, I'm a promoter as well. So I deal with fighters every day. And some of them turn down opportunities for money at the regional level, which is just crazy to me, because you're not fighting at the regional level to make a living. It's just, unfortunately, the sport hasn't quite made it there yet. And as much as we're Eternal trying and give as much back, there's not much money in it for the promoters either. So it really is a tough gig. And yeah, Jack's never been in it for the money. And to hang around with someone like that, and, you know, his brother and Ryan Gray and all the rest of the crew down at the gym, you know, Ryan, Josh and I have been doing this together for a decade. First, it was me as the coach, and them as the fighters. And as they've got a bit older and they've retired from their fighting careers, they've come on board as coaches. And it's just so cool to do something like that with your team, you know, and to achieve something as a team that's been together. And we are really close, you know, we're family. And cliched as it may sound, yeah, I couldn't even do it justice to tell you how I feel. To get home today and give my kids that belt and tell them that Jack's the best in the world, and we did it. It was a very, very special moment. And all that being said, I do believe it's just the start. And I'll finish on this. Just before we was to walk out, we was in our changing rooms, and GSP walked in. GSP had been cornering Ayman Zahabi, and he was covered in blood. And we had a shower in our thing. So he come in and he washed himself off, and he came out and he was just sitting down putting his shoes on while Jack was shadowboxing. We had a little chat, and then he walked over and he shook Jack's hand. And Jack's in all his fight kit, and GSP's in his like smart stuff to go and watch the main event. And as they shook hands, to me, there was just this little thing went off in my head and went, wow, he's just literally passed the torch of the GOAT of the welterweight division in his home city, in the stadium where he did it all. It felt to me like a seminal moment, like he passed the torch over to Jack that evening, which made it that little bit more special, because GSP for me is the GOAT, you know. So yeah, it was a really, really special week, a really special evening, and something that I'll never forget.
Well, dude, I was going to say that what you guys have done, it's so inspirational. Congratulations to you. I'm so happy you're able to be home now, to be with your family and with everybody who supports you back in Perth. Of course, we got Scrappy MMA, Eternal. You're the co-director there, so you're killing it in Perth. But as we wrap up, what's your message to everybody out there that's watching this?
Thanks for the support. Australia is amazing for getting behind its own, and the messages that we all received across the team throughout the last few days, and you know, Perth put the pictures of Jack up in the square. Congratulations. And you know, we feel the love, and it means the world to us to be able to go out there and represent Australia like that. And you know, Volk's the man, and he just did it, and that's 2 pay-per-views in a row that Australia has ruled the waves, and we're just so grateful for the support, and we're going to keep doing you proud.